Burchett says that some in the UFO community are unknowingly spreading false information. We've got that and a lot more to talk about today. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, let's just get right to it. What exactly did Tim Burchett have to say to Project Unity?
There's some of them that are doing it that are, in my opinion, don't know they're doing it. They're the most effective ones. They've been given false information and they've got a huge following and they're a fraud.
Who are you talking about?
I'm not going to say.
I think you and I both know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I got my suspicions.
Okay, so who is Tim talking about? A lot of people are suggesting that it's Jeremy Corbell. A lot of people are saying it's Stephen Greer. I don't know exactly who he's talking about. Some have actually disproven that it's Jeremy Corbell. Apparently, Tim says that it's the name that he's talking about is among a list of names that he has previously talked about in a different segment, and Jeremy is not among those names. So, is it Stephen Greer? Is it Stephen Greenstreet? Who exactly is he talking about? Mick West? I don't know. Let me know your suspicions in the comments below. But here's a really juicy soundbite from Tim Burchett. He doesn't really talk about any details, but what he says is really exciting. So let's give a listen.
The eminent domain part, I think, is what would really cause an issue with people, private, companies with lots of funds behind them. They don't want to lose that.
I think some things that are going to leak out or locations are where information or some of this material or objects are, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so Tim doesn't expound on that at all, but that is super exciting. Tim Burchett is saying stuff is going to leak. Is he part of those leaks? Is there a organized effort within Congress to disseminate some of the information that they've been given in the David Grush information skiff, or some of the other information they've received? It sounds like that may be the case. Now, a leak is an illegal thing, so I don't really want to attribute that to Tim or any of the other Congress people trying to push this forward, but it does sound like he has firsthand knowledge of leaks about to transpire. So, so that's good news for us, because it means we are going to get more information in some of these locations where these craft are stored are going to be made known to the public. Now, obviously, we know about Lockheed Martin. It looks like Raytheon also has some of this technology. Battelle probably does as well, as does Boeing. Other locations that we know about, Wright-Patterson, Area 51, those sorts of places. A mix of government and private sector locations. Which ones are going to be leaked to the public? And what evidence is going to be given to us to substantiate that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I think this is super exciting, guys. Speaking of Tim Burchett, here's a great comeback that he had for a tweeter. I just wanted to share it with you because I thought it was funny. The tweeter says, "This a-hole," speaking of Tim, "is dumber than the state he represents." And Tim fires back with, "So, are you still a +1 for fondue and movie tonight?" I love it. You get him, Tim. Speaking of Jeremy Corbell, he has a juicy tweet here. "More witnesses will be coming forward about the jellyfish U.A.P. Some witnesses will have direct knowledge. I hope a ton of people come forward, as will help fill in the event info that George Knapp and I reported on." So really excited to see these witnesses coming forward, and I'm really curious about what information they have about that really weird UFO. Now, I've shared some other similar UFO videos that have been taken over the years showing roughly similar sorts of objects. It seems to be kind of a rare sort of UFO, but they do happen. So I'm inclined to think that it's real footage, and I'll be very interested to hear from these new witnesses. Meanwhile, in another clip from the great interview that Danny Sheehan did with Unraveling the Universe, Danny is talking about an alien interview that he became privy to, or the information he became privy to. And yeah, so it's a great segment. This is not the alien interview that Jon Stewart talks about. This is an earlier interview with EB1, if you're familiar with the EB1 story. So, and if you're not, maybe I'll do a separate video on that. That's more of an in-depth conversation. But it is an interesting parallel because it's an alien interview with a large being, more of a 6 foot tall being. So I'm just going to play a couple of highlights from this interview with Danny, and you can watch the full video at your leisure, which I totally encourage you to do because it's a great interview, and I'll link to it below. But yeah, here goes.
You've also mentioned, I think, that there is a genuine video of an interview with a non-human being, or extraterrestrial being. So how confident are you that that is true, and why are you so confident, and where did you get the info of that?
I got called by a man who was in Project Blue Book. And he was dying. He was actually literally dying. He was in hospice. And his commander, finally, years into the program, brought this man with him to S4 out by Area 51. And he described the details of what the place was like, which was confirmed by lots of other information I knew. And that he was actually brought down into a facility at S4 where there was a live ET, EB, the extra biological specimen. And it was, an entity. It was like 6 feet tall, a very benign, but it was in this room and this guy was afraid of him. He said, I thought he was like demonic. And that they showed him these 3.5 by 5 index cards that they had taken notes from telepathic interviews with this particular being. And one of the things that the being was saying is that he was part of a group that had been put together, and there were beings from different star systems that were all part of this same organization, and that they were tasked to be going around inside our galaxy to where planets had generated life. To try to get an evaluation of what stage they were at, how they were doing, etc. And the interviewers, at least per what was said in the cards, had said, well, who is it that's in charge of this project that you're talking about? And he said, well, it's like what you people would tend to think of as God, but it's a lot different.
The alien is like the Blues Brothers. He's on a mission from God. That's right. He's on a mission from God, and he's an unobtrusive observer, along with his fellows that are just here to observe. Well, unfortunately, I don't believe anything that the beings say. I wish I did. Life would be so much easier if you could just trust the beings, but unfortunately, you can't. They do have a history of telling untruths, and this is, in my mind, a very good cover story that's not going to freak people out. It's not talking about abductions and manipulating DNA or whatever they're actually doing. They're just passive observers. So a good cover story, EB1. Mothership gives you a gold star. Meanwhile, Merrick, who wrote the great opinion piece from The Hill talking about UFOs and debunking Sean Kirkpatrick, releases this clip from Marco Rubio debunking one of Sean Kirkpatrick, the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick's claims.
I want to be very protective of these people. A lot of these people came to us even before these protections were in the law for whistleblowers to come forward. And a lot of them come...
Sorry, people who have had firsthand knowledge, who claim to have firsthand knowledge of seeing this type of thing?
That's or have firsthand knowledge or firsthand claims of certain things. Some are public figures, I want to be very protective.
So, Marco Rubio, of course, is couching his words and is being very cautious, as he always is, but he's clearly talking about first-hand people that have had first-hand experience with UFO technology. Sean Kirkpatrick has said there are no people, none of the whistleblowers, none of the witnesses are first-hand experiencers of this technology. So, of course, one more lie told by the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. Chris Mellon chimes in as well. The stark contradiction between sources approaching Capitol Hill on the U.A.P. issue, some of whom I know personally, in the claims of former Aero director Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, remains frustratingly unresolved. In other words, SK is a big fat liar. I share the view expressed here by Merrick von Rennenkamp that this standoff can only be definitively resolved by a thorough and truly independent investigation. I absolutely agree. I hope we get it. Will the House Oversight Committee spearhead that investigation? It looks like that's where our best hope is lying at the moment. Now, if the Schumer-Rounds amendment can be revamped and the gatekeeping committee can be put in place, ostensibly, I guess it would be up to them to spearhead this investigation. However, they are the gatekeeping committee, so I'm not really excited about that prospect. But I guess it's all in the motivations and the individuals involved. So, who knows? Maybe it could end up being a good thing. But I'm really much more hopeful about the House Oversight Committee, field hearings, and investigations. Meanwhile, apparently walruses can whistle. Okay, that walrus can whistle better than I can. I think I need to up my whistling game. Meanwhile, here's a great article from The War Zone by Tyler Rogoway. Here is what the Pentagon is not answering about the Air Force and recent UFO encounters. What? One of the biggest questions regarding U.S. Navy's recent disclosures regarding strange encounters with supposedly UFOs is why are we only hearing about this highly concerning phenomenon from just one service? A fact that isn't commonly understood is that it is not the Navy's job to maintain sovereignty over America's airspace. It is the U.S. Air Force's. So yeah, where is the Air Force in on all of this? Tyler doesn't have any answers for us, but he is posing the questions and trying to push this forward and get answers from the Air Force, who of course have been a huge part of the UFO control group from the beginning, and they hold a lot of answers to a lot of mysteries. Last but not least, a live update. The International Space Station has spotted Neil deGrasse Tyson bloviating across the Earth. He is currently taking a short nap as the bloviating has gotten the best of him. All right, well, I wish you a good nap, Neil. And let me know what you think about that and everything else covered in the piece today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. Join me on social media, buy some merch, become a channel member, and I will see you next time, guys. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.